And I watch as an RPG slowly comes at me. It's like in that movie Black Hawk Down. They show the RPG sort of like a lava lamp kind of sparking at you coming in. It exploded just behind me. If the guy had aimed a little bit more to the right, he'd have hit the left fuel tank and we probably would have exploded on the spot. If he'd aimed just a little bit forward, he would have got me. But he hit right at the minigun, and everybody was just sort of, stunned. It's like stars going around, little Tweety birds, and all of the electric dies. So anyway, we get to the top of the mountain, and we land up there, and there's nothing happening. And I look off to my right, and there's a donkey tied to a tree, and a Dishka, so it's a 14.5 millimeter anti-aircraft machine gun, right, heavy machine gun. And it's sitting there, nobody's touching it, no people. And Slab, back then, and this is all changed now, in order to talk to me, he had to be on the aircraft headset. To talk to his guys, he had to take off the headset, put his helmet back on with his pelters, and communicate by emitter or whatever they were using. Or we passed information with a clipboard that had like a glow stick behind it, and you write with a grease pencil, and you pass that back and forth. So he was in this transition period, taking his headset off, and I said, hey, tell the team leader, keep his headset on, I got to talk to him. What's up? I said, you got a donkey to the right, you got a machine gun, and then somebody pops up to the left, a guy, and my left gunner sees him and says, sir, we got a guy to the left. I said, is he armed? He said, I don't think so. Because of the Harriman incident the day before, the rules of engagement had changed because the friendly Afghans were everywhere. Now I had to have a hostile act. I've got to be shot at before I can return fire. But there's a caveat to that, hostile intent, which is that's very subjective. And I said, listen, if he pops up again, kill him, because if he's friendly, there's no way he's popping up again while we're sitting here. And so Slab says, okay, we're going, right? So he takes the headset off, puts his helmet on. While he's doing that, that guy pops up again from a different position, and I watch as an RPG slowly comes at me. It's like in that movie Black Hawk Down. They show the RPG sort of like a lava lamp kind of sparking at you coming in. And it was like slow motion, and it exploded just behind me. If the guy had aimed a little bit more to the right, he'd have hit the left fuel tank, and we probably would have exploded on the spot. If he'd aimed just a little bit forward, he would have got me, in which case we're not going anywhere. But he hit right at the minigun, and it went through the ammo can and out the other side and exploded in the aircraft. And because the doors were all open, there's not that overpressure, and everybody was just sort of, stunned. It's like stars going around, little Tweety birds, and all of the electric dies, right? So there's 3 electric systems in a Chinook. They're all geographically separated so that one bit of damage can't hit them all. And with the machine gun fire and the RPG, all 3 lines got hit and all the electrical went out. And the problem with that is the miniguns at that time were AC powered electric, meaning they run off the aircraft power. Now they run on batteries. They're done.
Holy
You can't
shit.
shoot, right? So we're now defensive. Everybody's still on board, but I'm wondering, did the SEALs start getting out? Are they back on? We never talked about that in this particular instance, because usually they'd be, if we start getting off, you got to stay till we're all off, or we'll get back on. I didn't know what they wanted. And Slab was unconnected, so I couldn't talk to him. And the crew chief in the back, way at the back of the ramp, it's like, we're getting hit, and you can hear like tink, 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 as the bullets are hitting the aircraft. And he's like, fire in the cabin, go, go, go. And we start, all right. So I take the controls, and the aircraft still runs. There's just no electricity, right? And we can still talk. That's on the battery. So I rotate and take off, and because the engines are on like a backup reversion, they call it, they droop a little bit at that altitude. It's like 12,000 feet. And so I can hear the droop, meaning I probably lost an engine. So now I know I can't hover with one engine. With only one engine, we're going to drop like a rock back to the thing. So I rotate over and I dive down the mountain, right? 30 degrees nose low, dive down. What I don't know is that Navy SEAL Neil Roberts is headed toward the back as we're rotating, and the crew chief in the back grabs him, like, I got you, and out they go. Neil falls about 12 feet to the about hip-deep snow, and the crew chief is on a tether, and he's hanging beneath the aircraft. I don't know that. But I'm diving. I'm literally on the treetops because the Dishka is shooting at us. And so I'm trying to get down below his potential for, elevating the gun down. And I don't know. This guy's feet are tickling the frickin' trees. And the other crew chief in the back sees him, pulls him up, right? And there's hydraulic fluid everywhere, so it's very slippery back there because the bullets hit the transmissions and some other things. And the crew chief's telling me, sir, we're okay. The engine's running. You can level off. So now instead of crashing at the base of the hill, I level off. We're about 9,000 feet. And they say, sir, we lost a man. I'm like, what do you mean you lost a guy? I'm in total denial. I'm like, give me a head count. And like, sir, we don't have to give you a head count. We just watched him fall out the back. Is he alive? He looked like he was alive when we left. All right. And like, sir, the guns don't work. I said, test fire the guns. Like, they know the guns don't work. So they're like, all right, we're going back to get him. So we circle back around. We start climbing back up 12,000 feet. And we get lined up, or we're starting to get lined up, and the controls lock up. We lost all our hydraulic fluid. And you can't move the controls without hydraulic fluid. We're trying to move, my co-pilot's trying to move it, and we are just flying it 12,000 feet over the battle in the valley below at the whale. I can see tracer fire going both ways. I see explosions, and I can't do anything. I can see stars up above, and I was like, hey, guys, I'm sorry, we're done. I can't move the controls. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not in control. And the guy in the back, the crew chief, there's a little fill port, right? And he opens it up, and he pours a can of hydraulic fluid in it, and it's got a little T-handle, and he's like pumping this thing like nobody's business. And all of a sudden, the controls come alive in my hand. I can feel the thing go. I was like, I have control. And so I turn the aircraft back inbound, and we're lined up to land on the top of the ridge, and the controls lock up again. We get about 50 seconds per can of hydraulic fluid. And now I know we're just going to impact on the top of Roberts Ridge. That's the name now. And he puts another can of fluid in there, and I know that there's no way we're going to be able to land there with no guns. And I still got Razor 04 out there, right? So he's fully capable. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to turn left. We're going to try to land where Razor 04 put the other Mako team. And it's far enough away that the angle of descent, if we lock up again, maybe we'll survive. Maybe we won't. I mean, it just depends. But that was the intent. So we flew down. We actually went way over them. I couldn't shorten up the descent. And we ended up coming into this kind of a hilly area, except I couldn't see that in the goggles until I got closer. I just saw flat as far as I could tell. And as we get a little bit closer, he'd put that last can in, and we get down to the bottom. I'm thinking we're going to run out of fluid any minute now. And I can't move the controls, the cyclic, right? The one between my legs. That's the directional control. And we start sliding uncommanded to the right, and I can't stop it. So there's a saying in aviation, never quit flying the aircraft. So I look at where we're headed, and I jam on the right pedal, and the nose swings around in the direction of the drift. And now we're going to hit straight on. So at least we got a chance. If we hit this way, we're going to roll over, boom, movie stuff. So we hit the ground. I got one more push on this axis, and I do it, and we settle on a slope that's about, 15, 20 degrees right side high, and about 15 degrees nose high. So the aircraft's kind of sitting up like this. Pull the engines offline, hit the rotor brake, stop them in one revolution. And so our commander at the time is an ex-Delta guy that went to flight school, ended up as our commander. And we'll call him Joe Gorst, not his real name, but it's close. And he used to do these things called Gorst games. And he would have us in training do shoot downs. So you'd go do some mission. I'd fly up to Cleveland from Fort Campbell, air refueling on the way up, on the way back. I'd come back and I'd say, hey, go land at Vagel DZ out on the range, right? So I'd go land out there, and they'd have to shut down the aircraft. They'd give me a little envelope. You've been shot down. You're in enemy territory. Go to these coordinates, to link up with, whatever. And then there were guys there to fly the aircraft back so that we'd be out there 3-4 days walking in the woods doing escape and evasion, survival, that kind of stuff. So we called these things the Gorst games. So we hit the ground, rudder brake stop, and I'm like, holy crap, we're alive. There's a couple points there I didn't think we were going to survive. And I say, not another freaking Gorst game.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.